for today's session, we're going to run the Let Your Imagination Run Wild aspect. So Louise, most people got to know about you through your poem, which is, as I mentioned before, The Time You Sprinkling the World. How did this poem come about, and how does it feel to have so many people on social media sharing your poem?
Well, Denise, this poem actually came about at about 4 a.m. one day. Probably like lots of other people out there, the world was changing around us, and trying to explain that to young people is really, really hard. My partner has a son, Cooper, who is 3, and we'd been spending time saying to Cooper, no, we can't go there this weekend. He's a big ice hockey fan. We were supposed to go and see the Belfast Giants. We had to tell him no, we weren't going. We were supposed to be going to see that wonderful Peppa Pig, and we had to say no, we can't go and see Peppa. And so I was just trying to think of a way to explain to him why this was happening, and the poem kind of came to me, as I said, about 4 a.m. and I scribbled it down. And I haven't up until now shared much of my writing, but I thought I'm going to post this on Facebook because I'm sure lots of people are having these conversations, and I was completely overwhelmed by the response. I couldn't believe the shares just kept going up and up. I know that it's been shared on my page 2,500 times, but other people have been in touch to say that they shared it, and then it's been shared maybe 5,000 times on their page. So it's everywhere, I think.
Absolutely, and it's a beautiful poem. I'm sure that anyone can find it and get to read it as well. We're actually reading the poem ourselves and posting it on YouTube very soon. So
very good.
Everyone should keep posted on that. So has there been any episode where you've been contacted by children who have read your story and perhaps which have touched your heart, or is any episode which resonated with any of the experiences you've had with also your partner's child?
There's been some really, really heartwarming stories. One of them, my favourites, is a parent getting in touch to say that their little girl was washing her hands, and at the end of it went, okay germs, off you hop now, which I thought was really, really nice. And another story of where children, I suppose, have felt that they may be in trouble. Why am I not allowed to go outside if I've done something bad? And a lot of parents have said that no, the poem has helped the kids understand that they haven't done anything wrong, that it's not their fault, that they're not allowed out, they're not being punished for anything, which I think is great. Also, a grandmother got in touch to say that she couldn't see her grandchildren at the minute, but she'd recorded the poem and sent it to her grandkids, which I thought was really lovely too.
That's beautiful. That's very nice. So, do you have any latest book or poems that you've written?
Well, I actually ended up writing last week another poem called The Dragon Hunt, which has again a link to coronavirus, and I wasn't sure about sharing it because I thought, well, I don't want to be the coronavirus poet. But again, it came from a very simple conversation. Cooper got up one morning and opened the windows and opened the blinds, looked out the window and said, oh look, it's really sunny today. Are the germs out there? And I said, yeah, there's still germs out there. And then he said, well, are there any dragons out there? Because I think the dragons could kill all the germs and coronavirus. And it was just such a cute little conversation that it put a little idea in my head. So again, on my Facebook page, you can find the poem The Dragon Hunt, which is really inspired by a very cute, very innocent conversation.
Sounds great. Do you have any unusual writing habits? We always hear that authors or poets do have some sort of unusual writing habits. What would be yours if you do have?
I think probably the most unusual thing is the fact that the ideas tend to come to me at very random times. So you end up waking up in the middle of the night and scribbling things down. I do prefer obviously to be on my own, which I think probably isn't that unusual. It's hard if someone else is in the room with you. Probably what's quite unusual is that it tends to happen very quickly for me. It doesn't take very long for the poem to come together. I need to kind of work on it as a whole rather than coming back and forward to it. I like to just get the idea down, and I might make little small changes to it afterwards, but I do just like to do it as one process.
Okay. And have there been any authors or books in particular, aside from people, of course, who have influenced you in your writing?
I've always been a reader, to the point where when I was young, my mum didn't believe that I was reading the books because I was reading them so quickly. She thought that I was just pretending to be finished. And as a young child, probably very, very typically loved Enid Blyton, particularly the Mallory Towers series. Absolutely love Anne of Green Gables and would still go back to those books time and time again. I still nowadays do like to try, as you said, I'm a teacher, and so I do try to keep up with what's current and what's popular, and I like young adult fiction. I'm currently reading Slime by David Walliams, which is quite a good fun book. So that's still the younger readers and the things that I enjoy. I'm a massive fan of Harry Potter as well, so I've always enjoyed the books that are targeted at a young audience, but I think that older readers can still take something out of. I'm still a massive fan of the classics as well. The Bronte sisters would be my ultimate idols, as anyone who's been in my A-level classes before will know.
Perfect. Do you have any advice for new authors? Of course, we already saw that through your biography that you've been an English teacher for the last 18 years. So I'm pretty sure even to your students, you do give them some tips, especially when it comes to writing their essays, etc. So what tips would you give both to new authors, but also perhaps to students who are writing their essays, school essays?
And my classes will know that I say this all the time, but the hardest place to start from is a blank page. As soon as you get some words on the page, whether it's for a really important essay or for a piece of creative writing, you can make changes to those words, you can take those words further, you can edit them, you can shape them. You can't do that with a blank page. I think lots of people find that the hardest thing is getting started. And if you're in a classroom, I don't know what to write first, or I don't know how to start, is the question that you will get most commonly. And so definitely my answer to that is just write something. And it might not be your best sentence to start with, but it will get better and you can make changes. So never, the hardest thing is a blank page. Put some words down.
Absolutely agree. And what was the best advice that you've heard from somebody else?
I think probably advice that I got actually when I was training to be a teacher on my PGCE, and it was, there's no such thing as bad reading. We've got a lot of book snobs out there, and I can be one of them sometimes, but it's okay to read whatever you enjoy. There's no right or wrong thing to read. If you like something, if you're getting something from it, then that's brilliant. It can be a real push towards reading things that are on for exam boards and the specifications for exams, or you think that you have to read the classics. If you don't enjoy them, then you don't. The best book for you is the book that you keep reading. So no such thing as a bad book to read.
Absolutely, completely agree with that. So, Louise, we've got some time left on this session. Would you like to go through one of your perhaps newest poems, which you'd like to read to us?
Absolutely, Denise. I've got one here, and it's called The Apple Tree and Me. So I'll read it for you now.
Thank you.
Cooper was an apple lover. He munched and munched and munched. And when he got to the apple core, he crunched and crunched and crunched. One day after munching and crunching, Cooper felt a tickle down in his tummy. It felt like something moving around, so he shouted, "Look down my throat, Mummy!" His mum said, "Open wide and look down." She couldn't believe what she could see. There was a little apple beginning to grow. The pip Cooper swallowed was turning into a tree. Each and every day, the tree grew bigger. Cooper giggled because it tickled while it grew. The only thing he wanted to eat was apples. Apple pies, apple crumble, apple stew. His mum was a little bit worried. She phoned the doctor and said, "What should I do?" The doctor was puzzled. There was no medicine for this. She had never heard of the apple tree flu. The tree was tickling Cooper's tummy and throat. He could smell apples whenever he did talk. And he was worried because his face was getting quite red and his hair was looking a bit like a stalk. One day, his tummy wasn't feeling so tickly. It felt more like a sharp, nasty pain. He rolled on the floor and he cried, "I'll never eat apple pips again." His mum rubbed his tummy and said, "Drink up. Let's see if your tree needs water and some sun." So Cooper drank cups of water all day long and played in the garden, having lots of fun. Something started rumbling in his tummy. It was like the roots of the tree started to shift. Then he felt a massive burp rise up inside him. And when he burped, into the air he did lift. He burped once more and out came some apples, then the branches and the leaves and the roots. Cooper fell to the ground and started laughing. All around him were the most delicious fruits. No more was there a tree inside his tummy, but he had apples to last him forevermore. He said, "Mum, I burped out my apple tree. And look, here's that pip from the core."
Very sweet poem. Would you like to tell us a bit about perhaps the morals which we should learn from the poem, or else any side stories?
Well, again, Cooper seems to be the inspiration for a lot of these poems, and it came from a silly conversation where he is a massive fruit eater. He loves apples, strawberries, grapes, bananas, and we have both eaten an apple, and I probably got much closer to the core than he did, and he was asking what would happen if you swallowed a pip. So that's where that came from. But I think that anybody listening to it now, first of all, don't worry, an apple tree won't really grow in your tummy. But if you are a writer or someone who enjoys writing, then at least you know stories can come from anywhere, and they don't have to be true. You can make up very silly things and they make really good stories. But also, like me, lots of children are staying home at the minute and not going to school, and we can sometimes think that we're really hungry when actually we're really bored. So my piece of advice from this poem is reach for some fruit, not always for the chocolate. Gotta have some healthy snacks too.
Perfect. Thank you very much. To this recording, we'll also be adding some activities for our followers. And one activity which we thought might be a good idea, especially during this time, would be for some of the younger audience, and obviously even if the older audience would like to join in this, would be to draw a blossoming apple tree. And our suggestion would be that in each apple you get to write what you'd like to do when we get back to as normal as possible, basically to come back to normality. Would you like to add something to this session, Louise?
I would just like to add a little message to anyone who is listening to say you're all doing a super job of staying at home and looking after each other. And books and stories are the best way to fill your time right now. They are the things, they will keep you company, they will give you ideas, and no matter what other schoolwork you're doing, they'll make sure you keep learning if you're reading lots as well.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you very much for your time, Louise. And we look forward to reading any of your new poems or books when they're out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.